Hey everyone, welcome back to the latest GoSkills Excel Challenge solution. How close did you get to solving it? Joining us is GoSkills' own Claudia Buckley with her solution. Check it out right now.
Solving this challenge involves some basic Excel functions and a little bit of math skills. Let's dive in. Our first task is to calculate the score for each row in section A. Since the calculation will be different based on whether there's a second assessor or not, let's use the if function. Right now we have all three values, so we just type equals if D3 is greater than 0. Then we want the sum of all three values as a fraction of the maximum. If the employee scores 5 for all three, then that's a perfect score. Then the total would be 15. So we enter sum, open brackets, and we want the sum of all three divided by 15. If we were to end our formula here, we would get a result. Let's see what it is. The result says 87. And if this were a perfect score, it would be 100. But since the row carries a weight of 20%, that's what we want displayed. So we need another step. Let's wrap this last bit in brackets and multiply that by the weight in cell B23. And remember, this is just our value if true. What if there's no second assessor? If there is no value in cell D23, this formula would give us an incorrect result. So let's finish our if formula by entering what we need Excel to do if the value in D23 is not greater than 0. We simply need to do exactly what we did before, but this time omit D23. So we'd like to find the sum of just these two cells. Divide it by 10 this time, and still multiply by the weight here. Close parentheses, and that's our full score. If there is no second assessor, it still says 20%. Perfect. Now we just copy this formula to the other rows in this section. Perfect. We can do a section A total to see how the employee did in their quantifiable objectives. Quick shortcut, Alt =, and that's 91%. The structure of the formulas in section B is similar to section A. So let's just do that right here. If this value is greater than 0, then we want to do a sum of all three divided by 15. To add the weight, we wrap everything in brackets and multiply by the weight here. If D33 is not greater than 0, then we want to sum just C33 and E33 divided by 10 and multiply by the weight. Close parentheses, and we have our score, and copy to the other cells. Remember that the total score for section B will be conditional because this row, the leadership row, may not have any values. So we need an if formula. So if the score in F42 is greater than 0, we simply need to sum everything here, all the way down to F42. If F42 is not greater than 0, then we need to sum down to F41. But if the leadership row does not have any values, we'd still want the employee to get 100% if they get a perfect score in the other areas. So we account for that by dividing this total by 90%, or 0.9. So let's test that. Let's make everything here 5. It's 100% now, and it's 100% if we remove the values from row 42. For our overall score, we want to give slightly more weight to the core competencies. we were asked to do a 40-60 split. So we just go in and type equals sum, grab the value here. Since this is 40% of the overall, we want to multiply by 0.4 and add that to F43 times 0.6. Close parentheses, this is our overall score. And we want some text to show up here. The performance level should be right next to the score based on this scoring guide. Since there are multiple possibilities, we can use the ifs function, which returns a result when the first condition is met. I'm going to type it right here next to the scoring guide so we don't have to keep going back and forth. Importantly, remember that if someone scores 89.5, Excel treats that as 90%. So that's how we need to write our formula. And remember that 89.5% is the same as 0.895. So let's type equals ifs. If the value in cell B46 is greater than or equal to 0.895, then display this word. If the value in B46 is greater than or equal to 0.705, then display this value, and so on. And if any other condition is true, so this is your catch-all phrase, if anything else is true, then display the word unsatisfactory. Close parentheses, and we do have a value here. Just copy everything, type equals here, drop the formula here, and we have the value. Now we can get rid of our background formula. Our final task is to create a radar chart from the core competencies based only on the self-assessment and the manager's ratings. So that's pretty easy. We select the criteria here, use Control to select non-contiguous cells, select the self-assessment ratings and the manager's ratings. And we just go to Insert. We could use Recommended Charts and just search for the radar chart. That's what it looks like. Click OK, and we have our chart here. We need a chart title. Getting the title to include the phrase core competencies and the employee's name is a little bit tricky to do, but here's how. In any cell, just type equals, double quotes, core competencies. We can have a dash and a space, use our ampersand, and click on cell B3 and hit enter. So it shows up right here. You can lock this cell if you don't want it getting deleted by mistake. And now we only need to reference that cell in our chart title. So I click on chart title here, go to the formula bar and type equals, select this cell and enter. And it shows up right here. So here's our chart. You can put it right over here if you don't want the back end showing up. And we've checked off all 5 tasks on our list. We've done section A and its scores, section B and the scores here. We've accounted for that leadership row in the core competencies total. We calculated the overall score with a 40-60 weight, and we created our radar chart. Folks, this is why we love the if function. It's so basic, but so essential to creating functional worksheets. Do you have an alternative solution or maybe a question? Share it with us on Slack. We'd love to hear from you. See you next time.
So there it is. Did you get the same results? Did you use the same approach? Or did you try something different? We'd like to know. Share your take on the challenge in the comments below or join us for more discussion in our Slack channel. Link in the description. Thanks for participating, and make sure to subscribe to this channel to get an alert when the next challenge is released. We'll see you then.